All right, we are live, my man. Good to see you, finally. We are live, everybody out there in YouTube world. Everybody knows this gentleman, Tyler. Super happy to have him here with me. And we're just gonna be talking about audio. So let us know out there how the audio is though, first of all, because we are in a busy, how busy is this place? Like, this is one of the biggest CanJams ever, right?
Yeah, it's probably the busiest. Outside of New York, I'd say this is the busiest I've seen a CanJam.
Yeah,
for
so
sure. Yeah.
Let us know how the audio is out there because, you know, we are contending with that a little bit, but, you know, it is a live feed from the showroom floor, so.
I mean, if I have to get real close, get some ASMR action going.
Can you hear that?
How's it going?
Like that?
There,
how do you like that?
Brown chicken, brown cow. Let's go.
So let us know out there. Let me pull up your comments, as you probably see here. Let's see what's going on.
How was the trip down? While you do
Man,
the
it was a drive. It was a drive, but it was good. Yeah, I like it because I listened to a ton of music the whole time. So, but there wasn't.
Find that little zen of like driving.
Yeah, you kind of got to. And then I also talked to friends along the way and driving. I called you. I talked to you for a while, but yeah, it was fun. It was fun. I think there was an overturned truck, which caused me to drive like an hour and a half out of the way because Caltrans closed the highway down. But, you know, it's just stuff you can't control, so it happens.
Fair enough.
All right, let's look and see.
Man, you're set up.
All right, here we go. We got good connection.
This guy's living the dream for audio setup and everything.
We got some people viewing. All right, cool. Chime in. I'm going to leave a comment.
Yeah, do we sound good? Do we need to eat the mic, or do we need to? You know?
let us know how audio is.
But
leaving some comments for you guys.
Yeah, it's definitely a packed show. A lot of new booths too. It looks like too. That I've seen.
There's some new products, new vendors that I haven't seen at a CanJam before. A lot of IMs. Yeah, it's a lot of IMs. And then IM's not my favorite, but you know, I mean, I don't dislike them. That's not my preference. I don't like shoving stuff in my ears. But
same.
But I also get the allure of IEMs too because they're easy, they're portable, and man, if they're tuned right, they sound great.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's look at our agenda. Some stuff to talk about. So. Chord. We were walking by, we saw Rob Watts over there. Rob's actually going to be coming up streaming with us next live, and we said hi to Rob, and we're both big Chord fans. In fact, you got me into Chord. If we're being honest, it was your doing that got me into Chord, and I'm thankful for it because I love it. I ended up getting the TT2 like you have eventually, and then I added a Hugo 2 for my office, and then an Annie. You know, to drive my Meta speakers on my desk. So, I mean, they're just a great company, you know. And we were talking before the stream, like, you know, 2 years ago, I knew that I liked Chord DACs, and I there was something special about the way they sound staged, and you know, the speed and the neutrality in a way, I guess. But what I didn't realize is that compared to so many other DACs I've heard over the last 2 years, Chord is a fairly analytical DAC. Like, the amount of detail you get out of a Chord DAC is greater in some senses than many other DACs. Like, especially if you're comparing to like a Sabre or an AKM chip.
But you need to be on the Rob number 2.
Yes, Rob. In fact, I'm going to bring it up. Well, actually, Rob will probably bring it up on the next stream. But Rob it's very important to Rob. Filter number 2 is his favorite filter. You know, but that doesn't matter if you have a different filter you like. You know,
my favorite's 3.
I like 3 too.
So
that's my favorite too.
Yeah,
3 is kind of the sweet spot in between, giving you just enough detail with a little bit of warmth,
like nice
or smoothness, I guess. Yeah, whatever you want to call it.
That horrible term that everyone hates.
Yeah,
it is what it is.
It feeds you a little less detail.
Yeah,
like force
it lets
feeding.
You relax. It's a lean back, not a lean forward.
Exactly. You know, the other thing too, though, is it's all about synergy. We always talk about this. Like, you could also run it on filter 2 with a tube amp, and that's pretty magical. So,
agreed.
You know, so it's just finding that balance. Here we go. Oscar.
I think with the TT2 as well, man. Like, that thing is just it's expensive, right? But the thing is, if you were to like buy a bunch of other separates for a desktop setup, it would be massive.
Yep.
2 would be a lot of money.
Yep.
But with the TT2, you're getting everything in one little form factor that you can put on your desk, and it sounds fantastic. It looks good. It has that really beautiful window. Like I love that like look. Like when you can see inside, like the naked like look kind of thing.
And the glass volume ball.
Oh yeah. And the way that it's
Star Wars. It reminds me of like Darth Vader or something. And then when it's dark and you're just like spinning the volume.
Yeah, my dog will come in and be like, man, like no.
my ears. And it has a remote.
Yeah,
so you can use it as a preamp for speakers.
Or like if your setup's kind of weird. Like my setup is weird right now because I have my desk and then I have like my vinyl but also my metas are off to the side now, right? So like if I want, I can put it over there instead, and I can have a remote and control everything while I'm listening to like my speaker setup. But as a desktop though, even like, or even just, it's just nice. It's just compact. It fits good. It works. And then as a headphone amp, it's hard to beat the amp. It's hard to beat the DAC.
18 watts into 32 ohms or something like that. Like, how do you find a more powerful amp than that? Like, I mean, there is obviously out there. Obviously, we say that kind of sarcastically. I say that sarcastically, but in reality, is like you could almost drive any headphone in the world.
Yeah, especially off the back.
And if you want, you can tap the back.
And that's like where the Susvara thing comes into play. Some people don't realize that. Like, if you go off the back, you can get more power. And or super inefficient speakers.
Absolutely.
Inefficient. Super inefficient. Super efficient speakers.
Oscar, so I don't know if it's the biggest CanJam ever, buddy.
People are saying that.
I think it is definitely contending for the biggest. You know, I'll talk to Jude. Jude tomorrow will stream with me on Sunday. He always does. And we'll ask him that same question. I bet you it is probably in contention for the biggest, but we'll see. I think they check the numbers after both, full days. Let's see. Can you ask Head to put inner cup size dimensions on Head 2 on their website? Or better yet, if you review it, could you mention it? I could find out. We'll see. Yeah, I could see. And if I do review it, I will mention it. Not sure if I'm going to review it, but I will definitely keep that in mind. If we do end up reviewing it, I can definitely find that out for you. Absolutely. That is an important thing. Like if you have cups that are like large, but then the pads smash your ears.
It's a factor.
It's a comfort factor thing. All right, and then we got. Thank you also for letting us know about audio is okay, because we know Tyler and I have done so many of these streams where we got rolling and the audio wasn't okay.
Or just
and then
gone, no audio at all.
We heard all about it afterwards, so we appreciate that for letting us know that. All right, let's look at ZMF. You're friends with Zach and Bevan, and good friends with them, and they have, you were saying, a new headphone that's coming out right now. What a cool name for it, too.
It's the Bokeh.
Bokeh.
How do you want to, potato, right? But Bokeh. I say Bokeh.
That's how I say it.
Okay.
And
you're a professional photographer.
I've been a professional photographer since 2007.
So I'm going to go with that. That's what I'm going to call it.
I don't know if I'm saying it right, but that's the way I'm saying it.
So 80 ohms, I believe, is what his intent is on it. And you felt it. It's
lightweight.
Yeah, super
very lightweight and comfortable. I tried it on. I didn't get to hear it yet, but I tried it on.
And it's it's still prototype, and he has it paired right now with his new amp that he's coming out with as well, which I'm excited to play with and listen to. But yeah, that's exciting. I'm excited about that. And of course, it's Zach. I mean, when there's artists, right?
He's a genius, man.
The wood cup looks amazing. It's kind of reminiscent of like the Atrium closed, I'd say.
Yeah.
But it's its own unique thing, and it's beautiful. It's a beautiful looking headphone, like all of his stuff, and excited for it.
Talk about kind souls too. Him and Bevan,
best.
They're the best people. I love those guys. I love you guys. You're the best. Seriously. And we don't even carry their products at the source. Obviously, I work at the source, but we're going to talk about products we carry here at the source and not carry. We're just here to talk audio. So, and I have a lot of love for Zach and ZMF, as you do for sure. All right. So there was an amp too. There was an amp in there that had the wood on the side you were telling me about?
The new ZMF, he's a collab with JDS Labs.
JDS Labs collab, okay. It looks sweet.
Yeah, it's kind of like a funky looking little like retro look to it. And he's going to do like custom wood front plates, so it's going to, I think eventually that's the plan.
To match the headphones.
To match the headphones, or like to just have unique custom front plates.
Jack is a genius, man.
And it has little,
yeah,
so
it looks really sweet.
You get the meter there. But
I definitely will get over there to hear those when I get a break. So speaking of wood headphones, Meze just dropped their new Primal, I believe it's called.
Yeah, and the 109 Pro.
109 Pro Primal.
With the cool textured cup.
The way they textured and carved those cups, super cool looking, guys. I keep looking at the monitor, but I should be looking here. Sorry. I'm looking at you guys. I'm talking to you guys, not to the monitor. But It looks beautiful, and that's one I'm personally excited to get my ears on. I have the 109 Pro being sent to me, I think, for review. I still haven't even got to review that
Same
yet.
Same here.
So, I mean, that's going to be sent to me for review. I don't know if there's differences in sound quality or not.
The cup. I think
it's just the design,
just like
limited edition, physical design.
Yeah.
And you know, the other thing too that's cool about that probably is when you're holding that,
the texture,
the way your fingers go into the grooves that they've carved into that. Very beautiful headphones. So I'm excited to check that one out, see and hear it. Let me just see here. Have either of you tried the Modhouse Tungsten?
Oh, man. We're going to talk about it a little bit. Like that's going to lead into the DIY part I want to talk about.
That's coming up. We're gonna be talking DIY here in a minute because there's a few different brands.
Excited to try that. Yeah. I'm very excited to try that.
All right, so another thing I personally have right now, it's back at my house for review, but is Dan Clark's Carina. So the Electrostatic headphone.
Which sounds exciting.
This thing is bananas. Like, it is so good. I've heard it right now off of the Woo Audio 3ES, which is their flagship.
Yeah, they're gorgeous.
Dude, this thing is heavy and huge, but it's a highly neutral, highly resolving sound. So when paired with a TT2...
They announced that in CanJam New York like 2 years ago, right?
Yeah, I think
gorgeous.
so. So when paired with a TT2, it's very analytical in a sense, it's with pretty much any of the Electrostats that I've heard it with so far, which is the Carbon, the Carina, and the Stax 009S.
So like, there's like E-stat heads, there's dynamic heads, and there's planar heads. Where do you think you fall in that realm?
Me personally, I mean,
everything's. I've listened to everything. It's hard, of course. Right?
I would initially had said I lean probably mostly towards planners and dynamics, right? Okay. Sennheiser, ZMF, I love ZMF. Sennheiser and ZMS for dynamics, and some Focal too, like the Stellia. I love the Stellia.
Stellia's great.
And in the 2022, Utopia was one of my favorite headphones from last year. So and initially, because I hadn't heard as many E-stats, electrostatic headphones, the ones I had heard, I thought, well, this is just all E-stats, right? There's no bass, just really, really great, beautiful treble.
Room is the bass, like the low end. How's the low end?
But dude, the Carina, it's got bass. It's got bass, and
is it
warmer than neutral bass?
Warmer than neutral bass. Yeah. Okay, and then is it? But the thing with E-stats is they've never had, because it's just the nature of the E-stats. They don't have the airflow to give you that impact.
It sounds fairly like punchy.
The audio glossary impact. Like what's that?
It sounds fairly punchy. I don't think it punches like a dynamic's gonna punch. I don't think anything's gonna punch like a dynamic, but it definitely has some punch to it. So, I've only heard it off of one amp so far, and before I put out that review, I want to hear it off the Blue Hawaii because everybody says
Blue Hawaii is like
that is one of their favorites. And I heard it leans a little warmer too, which would probably jive with my TT2 as the DAC. You know what I mean? So I haven't
on filter 2.
Yeah, on filter 2, or we could go filter 3, and in fact it did jive better with the Woos 3ES. And all of those electrostats, because all those electrostats are detail monsters. I mean, like detail for days. If you love detail, that's one thing I feel like planners get really close, but electrostats for some reason are just a notch ahead.
The detail on E-stats is insane. But so someone asked me about that. They haven't heard E-stats before. Like, well, what's the sound signature? And I was like, well, if you can imagine being in space, like outer space, and like having the music come from everywhere and like but nowhere all at once.
It floats in the air.
Yeah, it's like an ethereal.
It
like,
is ethereal.
Yeah, like it's a very unique experience too. Like it's a cool experience.
And I would say that the Dan Clark Carina, just on the limited time I've had with it, and the amp I've listened to it off of with my chain at home, it sounds E-stat but not fully E-stat, which I think is going to appeal to a lot of people.
Oh, it has a broader audience then, yeah.
I think so. So there's appeal. And then like when you listen to like the Stax is also similar, but it has more of that E-stat like airiness at top.
I'd say the Stax tends to lean more to the mid-high.
And then the Carbon is kind of sits in a little different realm of those. It's more like mid-range forward, a little bit more neutral on the bass, but detail, like even more detailed than the LCD5. So at least in my experience. So I mean, all of them are very interesting and good in their own ways, and they're going to appeal to a certain kind of listener, you know, depending on what you like. So that's what another one I'm excited to talk more about when I get back and listen to it. I'll be bringing home the Blue Hawaii, get to hear that more.
Lucky bastard.
I know, I'm excited. I'm excited. Okay, and then the other one, let's check here, so make sure I don't forget about you guys. Oscar, any info about the price? Let me just put this up on the broadcast.
Mirai IMs. Green is my favorite color. Are those look
Let me just put that here.
Those look like a full set.
Any info about, yeah.
I can look the Dunews.
We can check it out. I'm not really sure on that one yet. Yeah.
I'm just a guest here, so
I don't know. We'll have to look. We'll have to look at that and find out. I'll have to get back to you on that one. I love green too, man. Green is one of my favorite colors. Purple, I love purple. My daughter loves purple and pink are her two favorite colors. I mean,
you gotta have purple at all times on your person.
Would E-Stats be a bad pairing for playback for not 100% clean vinyl ops? Personally,
maybe. Depends on the.
It could, depending on your cartridge and your needle and your setup.
It would pick up the detail for sure of like your pops and the scratches or like any kind of dirt. Like it might be.
It just depends on how resolving your table and your cartridge and the needle and everything is, you know. But you know, you gotta experiment and try. Like if you're in SoCal area, you could bring your table and cartridge into our store and you can listen to anything you want. You know, we allow that. Or if you have a local dealer, you could always ask them. You know, if your local dealer would say, hey, I want to listen to my table, you know, with these headphones, because on every video I always recommend that. I mean, Tyler gives impressions, I give impressions. You know, I don't even call myself a reviewer, but there is reviewers. They'll give you impressions. I don't really consider myself a reviewer. More just present my experiences and then facts about the products. That's kind of what I do. You know, but you got
the experience.
It's the experience, and you got to. But it doesn't. Anybody's impressions don't, or reviews or whatever. They don't replace you listening for yourself. So I would recommend, you know, listening because you may love it. You know, you may love it. Zerum. Hopefully I said that right, Zerum 01. You may love that, you know, that pairing. But personally, I steered away from listening to as much vinyl with headphones. I listen to vinyl mostly off my speakers.
Speakers is vinyl.
That's just kind of my thing. I spin vinyl with my daughter. I spin vinyl for friends and stuff, but not so much so with headphones anymore. I don't know. Maybe it's just because I'm streaming more.
I think if you have I think it's also you have the option, right? Like, so if you don't have the option to have like a nice stereo with your vinyl, then I can see where headphones. But like it's hard to go backwards in the sense, right? Like in the sense of like I have my vinyl set up. It's set up on my stereo system, my speakers. So it's hard to like reconnect to just listen to headphones. So I think that's probably the factor as well.
Thanks. ESAT sound better for digital as not everything is. Yeah, I mean, I think so. I think that's a good way to. I think that's a good way to put it, Zerum. Yeah, I think so.
Clean signal.
But I will say with a caveat, right? So like if you have a very analytical DAC and you have a very analytical amplifier, and then the headphones will lean analytical as well, or have an ability to reveal a lot of detail.
Yeah.
I mean, you could have, and like you go with like rock and roll from like the 90s or alternative.
Some of the recordings might be. Yes,
if it's a bad
recording,
a poor recording, like if the recording is just bad, that could be problematic too. So you know, and the next headphones I'm going to actually bring up kind of lean into that. So the Yamaha YH-5000SE, I reviewed that on our channel already. I like them so much, I bought them with my own money. You know, but they do have a little spice in the treble, and they're extremely detailed. Like they are approaching E-Stat detail. Not quite there, but approaching, right? You know, enough detail for pretty much most any listener, unless you just want the most amount of detail possible. But on some bad recordings, you have to switch to for me, I have to switch to the
Filter 3.
Well, Filter 3, 100% on the DAC, but also the Yamahas also allow for you to swap the pads.
Oh yeah, well, so that's actually a good point.
I got them right here.
Right, bring it up. So like, here's a good idea. Like talk about like that. Like so, IEMs in the stereo sense, right? The IEMs, your ear canals are the room, right? Same with the tips a little bit, right? That's like the walls a little bit. The headphones, the pads, and the cup are your room, and then a stereo, obviously, the room is the room, right? So that's how you have to look at it. So when you change the room, in essence, with the pads, you're changing the signature.
100%. So basically, like you can see, last night I had on the softer pads, right? the Alcantara pads, and I find myself like before bed, I choose these pads because I don't want to go too.
Plus, they're soft.
They're soft. They're
Nice
more
like a
comfortable.
pillow.
They have a little bit smoother, warmer.
They put you in that mood.
Yeah, and like before bed, I listen to last night I was listening to like
a little Disturbed, Down with the Sickness, maybe. You know, just get ready to go to bed.
Yeah,
just crash.
exactly. That's for the gym. That's for the gym for sure, or like Tool, or whatever. But I was listening to like Enya and like new age stuff, like stuff like that, and so that helps me just chill out.
Get that.
Yep, and go and get a nice deep sleep. Yeah. And so that's these pads. But if I'm like off of a crazy, like dynamic, warm, punchy tube amp, I can be on filter 2 on the TT2, which is analytical still, I would say, even though it has the high frequency roll off, it's still analytical. And the synergy between the warm tubes and these pads allow for a much wider sound stage, because this is a more intimate sound, which is pretty typical with almost all headphones that use that, right?
I'm a big fan of aesthetic, right? Like, as much as I love the sound of things, like aesthetic also factors for me. Like, so if something's not, I don't know, the greatest looking, like, it might not be the thing I grab all the time. That's part of why I love ZMF so much, right?
Yes,
like, I love
so beautiful.
And these, to me, like, I love the look of these.
They kind of remind me of like
HC820 is what I think.
Yeah, like a little bit, and they look a little bit like the HE100S too.
Yeah.
Like you look at them, they have some
very cool
similarities.
modern design. It's just, I think they look cool.
It's unique. They're definitely unique, and they're kind. You either love them or you might not like them, but
that's everything.
But that's everything in audio. For me, they're the most unique headphone I've heard that is different. They're not a Harman tuning for sure. So if you're a Harman, big time Harman fan, you're not going to be like stoked on these because I feel like they have more treble frequency than most of the Harman Curve would give you normally. But once again, listen to them. Listen to them for yourself and see.
Always.
I bought them. I thought they were extremely unique, and paired with like a dynamic, warm tube amplifier, fantastic. In addition to that, Yamaha just released a brand new amplifier, the HALZA, I believe it's called, and this amplifier is phenomenal with these, which you would expect, right? It's synergy, right? They tune it that way. On pure direct mode was my favorite. Now I only listened to it maybe for 3 hours before driving down, and the pure direct mode on it is pretty dang good. From what I understand, it's only about a watt, so I don't know if it's going to drive,
like super hard.
Some of the harder, inefficient headphones, but this is not super inefficient.
Most of your average headphone isn't going to go above that necessity. It's like
I think these do better with more than a watt, personally. Like but for whatever they did within that unit,
it's like the Sonys. Remember the Sony? What was that? The wood, like it looked like a crazy lamp. They went with the closed backs. And
yes.
Compare that with that, like it turned into like a whole nother headphone.
Yep. When also I think that unit, their amp also has a Saber, ESS chip in it, basically. So that and the way that's been implemented, it's not necessarily as analytical as like a Chord. So it kind of meshes well, because this, I would still say, this is a neutral to analytical leaning headphone, especially in the detail presentation and in the treble region.
Did they say like who the target audience for this was?
Not really, but it's
not like a pro moniker, right? Like it's not
no, I think it's just for the passionate audio enthusiasts, is my understanding. I don't think it was, it's just targeted for somebody that wants a very Yamaha's natural sound, premium listening experience. And the other thing about them is they're so freaking lightweight. Like, feel those, how light they are. 320 grams. You can wear these things for hours.
They feel fake, I'm not gonna lie.
Right? They don't
They're
even...
metal, that's metal.
That's magnesium. Yeah,
wow.
they spent a pretty penny in magnesium. There's really only like a couple hard plastic parts, which are like this part right here.
There.
Yeah, but everything else is magnesium. So, I mean, at first you hold them and you're like, oh, how are these so expensive? They don't feel like
then you
a
feel
big
the cold
heavy
metal.
headphone.
Like there's a cold.
Then you feel the magnesium, and you're like, oh, they picked one of the most expensive metals you could choose. Yeah, they're pretty cool, man.
Premium materials.
The other thing that's unique is they have driver.
I like the design for the cup replacement too.
Yeah, look at the for these just pops on and off. Look at that. So that's most planar drivers have.
I was gonna say that it's not dynamic.
They have a square.
It's tiny.
They have a square driver, right?
Yeah.
These are circular.
Yeah.
It's an orthodynamic, so it's a circular driver.
I like the traces. You can see I mean, it's kind of hard to...
It's grooved in, yeah.
That's cool. That's really cool.
So, I mean, you probably can't see it. You'd see it better on the video review I did, but anyways. that's a cool one that if you are going to come to CanJam tomorrow, you can come to the TSAV booth or the Yamaha booth. You should hear it. I don't know if it's going to sound its best in this environment, but no headphone really ever does, let's be honest, unless you go into one of those sweet booths.
The HE1 Sennheiser.
Yeah, you go hear the HE1 in a private room, or
they have this
Warwick sound booth, man.
Yeah.
I think the future of CanJam, right?
Yeah,
I get
all of those sound
it.
booths.
I get it that it would be super expensive, but I think the future of CanJam one day should be that every dealer and vendor has at least one of those booths, at least one.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
soundproof
booth. Because if you're going to drop some major coin on a headphone,
especially like 5Gs,
like 5Gs, 6Gs for a Sysvara, you know what I mean, or whatever, or 5Gs for a Utopia, you probably want to hear it in as soundproof as possible.
Yeah.
Like,
but if you can't do that, go to the Source
or your
local dealer.
Yeah, your local dealer.
Or try to go to try to join any like local groups that's opening up now. COVID's kind of back.
Headphone Meet or something like that.
Meet, yeah.
The next thing when we were walking around earlier, we checked out the Ferrum. Ferrum has a new DAC, the Wandala.
Wandala.
So
looks exciting. Now it makes a proper stack, right?
Yeah. They're really pretty aesthetically from the outside, the way they design them. Let's check our chat here. So it says here, yes, Zerum, we will sell the corresponding amp, yeah. In fact, the one I got to hear is a pre-production, so it's not even going to be released probably till the end of this year, or I believe the very end of 2023, or maybe early 2024, just depending on Yamaha. But yes, we will sell it. We are an official authorized dealer for Yamaha. And the other thing is you won't see a lot of authorized dealers for Yamaha out there. I believe because you actually have to have a physical location. I'm not 100% on that, but maybe I'll ask Yamaha that. So, that's something to think about.
I know nothing about dealer stuff, so.
Let's see. Oh, yeah, and then the Sony TH, that's the one he was talking about. Yeah.
That's the one I was talking about.
Thanks,
that's
Sarah.
the one. That's the one.
Good looking out. That's the one we were thinking of.
I like this one. Best pairing with HC650, bottlehead crack.
Yeah, it's a good one. Leonardo.
HE100S as well.
Leonardo. Okay, so best pairing for the HE650, no matter the price. Well, geez, no matter the price.
If you want to go crazy, I mean, any big tube amp.
The Woo WA23 Luna would be pretty bananas for the 650. HE100S, I think it might be a little too analytical and neutral for the HE100S.
I'd say you want something really warm and gooey for the HE100S.
I like the WA8, the WA8 from Woo, the bottlehead crack. I like,
SEX,
but maybe bottlehead crack without speedball for HE100S.
Without speedball, yeah, because it's a little
better.
Yeah.
It's a little better, I think. What else?
I'd say amps and sound, like the Kinsey, any of his stuff. That's all super high. I mean, if you want to go price no object, like in a tube amp, like the Woo and the amps and sound are probably the crazy ones. But if
you don't want to spend a ton, you also don't have to. The bottlehead crack, and then even the WA2 from Woo, which is their little OTO, it's like $1,500. Dude, that sounds magnificent with both of those headphones. It's $1,500.
My buddy Ski, that I introduced you to, Ryan. He's walking around with the Woo
Mini,
little DAC Mini tube amp thing.
It sounds good.
And he's like, dude, this thing's amazing. He's like, it's fantastic. So that's another little.
It's a warm little tube amp.
And it's like the size of it's fairly large for like a thing, but I'd say it's probably about
like this big.
I mean, I don't know how big our hands are. I'm sure this isn't like giving you any kind of.
It's bigger than
I'm
like
actually
an Audio Quest.
4'11".
It's bigger than like an Audio Quest, right?
Definitely bigger than Audio Quest.
It's definitely bigger than that. You can
like
we reviewed it,
or it's about the size of your Samsung, maybe.
Maybe.
But I don't know. Anyways.
Yeah, we reviewed it on the TSAV YouTube channel, and I put things next to it to give you a scale of size. So hopefully it makes more sense. I loved it. I thought it was great, and I think it puts out a watt. Actually, believe it or not. Yeah, so
it would go well.
I think at 32 ohms, a watt at 32 ohms or something like that. But
it'd still be fine for like a HD650 on the go.
Oh, it would be. The HD650 sounded fantastic with it. The 662 sounded fantastic with it. I'm not a 600 fan personally. I know a lot of people love the 600, but I lean more towards the 660 S2 or the 650. If I feel like if I'm going to go for it, that's what I go for. Let's see. So thank you for that question, Leonardo. The last Rhino, Zerum one.
I agree. Last Rhino. That one's not really made for as a desktop. It's more of like an audio only.
It's more audio first and foremost. Thinking of the Woo 23 for both my Sen 650 and LCDX 2020 Careers Edition. Yeah, man. Carmine, that is endgame. I reviewed it on the channel, I don't know, a while back. That is a beautiful sounding amp. It is, with the stock tubes, it's fairly neutral, so that's just something you need to know. Like, it is a very neutral, detailed, experience, but man, the sound staging, I keep looking over here, I should be looking here, the sound staging, is so amazing on that amp, and the noise floor there is none. It's super quiet. It's awesome, and you could always roll tubes. So if you want to change the sound up, make it a little warmer, you just pick different tubes.
Tubes matter, man.
Yep.
Like, I'm the worst at tube rolling, but like I usually pick a pair of tubes and I'm done. But like that's factor though. You find your tube you like, and then
you're good. Let's see. Nice to see Tyler at the show. I know. I that's why I wanted to stream with him first. I was so happy to see him. I was like, man, I gotta go find Tyler. Appreciate you too. Let me read this bigger because I don't have my glasses on and I can barely see that. It says, Kevin, nice to see Tyler at the show. I really appreciate you both. Looking forward to your coverage this week in Marcello. I know it's early, but I'm curious to hear your best of show. Oh man, yeah, I haven't even got to hear anything really yet. I'm gonna probably, yours is ZMF. Obviously, you're the ZMF lover for sure. I mean, I'm gonna probably get a private demo of the HE1 at some point, so I'm very looking forward to that.
You're gonna cry.
I mean, I don't think I'll cry, but no, I mean it's okay to cry.
It's okay.
Men, it's okay to cry.
Okay. It is
I
okay.
cry. There's times I cry. Okay.
We have daughters.
We have daughters. They're
gonna make us cry a lot.
They make us cry. There's nothing wrong with crying. I'm just saying I don't know if it's gonna make me cry when I hear it.
I'm just.
But I know that other people have cried, and that's cool too. So nothing wrong with that. But so I don't know. That has contention to be the number one listen. Yeah. But I haven't got much time yet, so it's
such a unique
early.
Experience. It's hard to beat in the sense of, because it's not just the sound, but it's also such an experience that
when the tubes come up and do their automation.
So you have to factor that in too, because sometimes that matters. Like
aesthetics,
looks,
everything.
the experience of the whole leading
matters.
up to it, the whole just the whole room of it. Like all that stuff.
I agree 100%. Oh, thank you, Last Rhino, for being with us, man. We appreciate you. Pop you up there. Thank you, brother. It's always good to see you. All right, let's look and let's see what's next. We got Rob Watts coming up at noon, so I'm going to try to get into DIY audio. So DIY audio we talked about.
ETA. I introduced the ETA guys, and they do like these really cool, like on-ear, kind of on-ear, semi-on-ear DIY stuff. And I've been a big fan, man. Like, and and it also leads into the mid-fi thing, right? Like, so there's not enough.
Oh, yes, that's
everything's
right.
all like,
where is
top
the mid-fi?
In. Where's all the mid-fi? Where's all the mid?
Yeah.
And so I think it's a lot of the DIY guys, or the mid-fi, like ETAs, your Mod House, that kind of stuff. Right.
That mid-fi, when we talk mid-fi, is like around 1,000 to 2,000 maybe,
I'd say,
or 1,000 to 1,500.
I mean, you could even drop it down to like the 500
and up.
Yeah,
okay.
I'd say 500 and up to like 1,500 to a 2,000 range.
Okay, perfect.
Like because there is a weird gap there, right? But and it's all dependent on who you are and whatever.
And we haven't seen a lot of the new stuff coming out. I mean, there's been some. Yeah. I know. I can't say anything, but I know that one of the manufacturers that's here right now does have something in that range. It's supposed to be extremely impressive. Extremely impressive. So, I don't know if that's going to be announced this weekend or not, or if it's still kind of in a, kind of hush-hush phase.
Mode
and then a few people are here will get to listen to it in a private setting. So, but looking forward to hearing some of those types of things. But yeah, we'll see more mid-fi, I'm sure, from more manufacturers. Hopefully. Because, not everybody can afford a $5,000 headphone. Yeah. No way. Let's be real. Any new music tracks or anything you've been digging on lately?
Actually, I've been digging. So my latest kick has been like the '90s hip hop, which actually is funny. My latest album I bought was a vinyl record. It's like a 10 or 20th anniversary of Aesop Rock. Not Aesop Rocky or Racky or whatever his name is, but Aesop Rock, the underground. He's a rhyme sayer. He's with Rhymesayers now. He used to be with Def Jux, but they're a defunct thing. But anyways, long story short, ADHD. I got that vinyl. It's the anniversary. And that's been something I've been digging on. I've been digging on getting vinyl a lot more.
Vinyl's fun, man. Especially when you're with your daughter.
With
my daughter.
My daughter will come in though, and she'll grab my mic for she'll start singing. And
she loves to see the vinyl. There's something about it, and it's a classic sound, and it's. It's not perfect, right? You hear the pops, you hear the clicks. You got to deal with static. It's a real process, but. There's something about vinyl, two things I've noticed about vinyl, because I've done a lot of listening with different speakers as of recent, in the last couple years, I guess. The sound staging of vinyl, the depth of the stage when you're listening to vinyl, there's something really magic about it. Like
analog.
I think Chord can get closer as far as like that depth, but most DACs sound kind of flat, and like Sabre or ESS, whatever you want to call it, they sound pretty wide, but they're pretty they're pretty flat, right? AKM maybe has a tiny bit more depth, but so There's something about vinyl that really creates more depth in the music that I found.
And for me, for vinyl, like one of the things, I have ADHD really bad, right? Like, so it's a factor. But and so like my music collection is that way too. I have like 2,000 tracks on random shuffle, right? So it's like, but when I listen to vinyl, there's a process. You put it on the table, you put the needle down, you sit down, and you listen to the whole album.
It's so nice.
And it's just, it's a way to kind of like,
you
kind of get into this mode, and it's like, and you actually listen. Like, it's a way to like, I don't know,
100%.
listen to the artist. Right?
No, 100%. As the way the artist intended you to, from start to finish.
Telling a story, right?
Because most really great albums have a story from the beginning to the end.
Yeah, actually, it's rare nowadays, I've noticed. A lot of them are just going for the one-hit wonders.
I know. But the classics.
But the classics, dude, it's literally, it's a story from start to end.
All right, so I brought with me
I was going to say,
today,
you should probably end on the audio note.
I brought with me today the audio glossary. So I'm going to share a word for every stream we do today, just to educate us as audios. You may already know this as audio enthusiasts. You may already know this word, but the one I picked for this one is haze or haziness, which is a subtle smearing of detail and focus, the audible equivalent of viewing something through a gauzy veil. So if you hear one of us use the word haze or haziness, that is what it means.
Yeah.
So
it's like Vaseline on a glass.
Yeah, or a lens. Yeah, exactly.
Makes it kind of look dreamy, but it's maybe not the most detailed. Or
speaking of that, let's talk about your camera. What do you got there? And then we'll end on your camera.
Okay, yeah, fair. So this is my personal Joy camera. Does that make sense? Like, so this is a Leica Q2. So it's not. I mean, it's nice. It's fancy. I mean, you've held these. They're heavy as all get out.
Leicas are built like tanks.
Yeah, and like and I literally throw it around. Like, I do not treat this well. I should.
They're designed to be built like that.
Like tanks. Yeah, and like
it's beautiful.
But this is more of my personal. Like, this is my. I love taking
with your
photos.
daughter,
Or just even like just for me.
Moments.
Like, I take pictures for me, you know what I mean, with this. And I've been really focused on that this past summer, even like past year even. I've been kind of taking a break on a lot of like the audio world and stuff. And I've been really focused on just taking pictures and finding the art for me, you know what I mean? And that's what this does. This kind of reinvigorated that. I still have my big Sonys and all that fun stuff, which I'm going to do a walk around the show and take pictures of people and stuff. But yeah, this is my passion. Like, honestly, like the photography, and then finding something like that. Like, well, you're a professional photographer, you know. So like, your big cameras are those are your tools.
Workhorse.
Tools. Yeah. And then to find something that I can, like, even like a Fuji, like a little Fuji, XT4, or like the little what's an X100V or something like that. Like, to me, or even like one of those little street cameras that you can just like put in your pocket, like, to find the joy in that, right? Where it's like, it's less about I'm here to take a professional photo,
it's lighter weight too, smaller. It's more enjoyable to carry.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of those facts. I used to have the little Fuji cameras for that exact reason, because there is.
It's the dad cam.
Yeah, it's a dad cam. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, 100%. I mean, the best camera is the one you have with you at 100%. All times, and when it's a little smaller, lighter weight, it's easier to carry that. Or if you can't, your phone, you know, at least you always have that with you. True. So let's see if there's any last questions before we wrap up. What's up, Josh T? Welcome, man. Good to see you. Kevin, how are you, man? Let's see. It says, let's add this to the broadcast. It says, Kevin, any impressions of the Austrian audio composer or the new DMS headphone? Tyler, any early impressions from ZMF's new closeback? Any impression of the Grow headphone?
Not yet. I'll probably get one from Zach. I'm going to segue out, though, because I'm going to let Rob get in here. But
well, we have a few minutes.
Okay, but I'm going to get hopefully some impressions with the ZMF stuff. I've been hearing a lot of people talk about that Austria audio words. They're hard.
The DMS headphone looks really cool, and
Omega, right?
Omega, and I just love the fact that DMS is a very talented creator. He's actually one of the reviewers, if that's what you want to call him, that I think does a really, really good job. And the fact that he's able to transition into being a maker, kudos to you, DMS, man. I'm really happy for him.
His buddy actually told me to go scare him at some point, but I think he recognized me, so I don't know if I'll be able to scare him now.
Let's see if there's any last questions. And then what we'll do is we're going to close the stream down, and then we're going to come back with Rob Watts in a sec, because we have to go through that whole setup process. So let's see. I'm taking the pledge, and in my 60th birthday, I get the Bryson BH1. Good for you, man.
Good stuff.
Yeah, Bryson BH1 took the plunge. Oh, oops, that's a repeat. Okay.
Felix
Echo 2. Yeah, I heard it. I thought it was a good. Good tube amp. Yeah, I thought it was good. For the HE100S, I might go for something a little less neutral sounding for HE100S.
Felixes are usually a little more neutral.
I prefer like the warmer side with the HE100S. All right, well, thank you so much, everybody, for joining. If you haven't, smash the like button for us, please. let your friends know that we will be here streaming all day today for the most part and all day tomorrow. So come back and join us, and we appreciate you, Tyler.
Hey, brother.
My brother. I appreciate you. So good to meet you in person and be here. And with that, we'll see you guys in a few minutes with Rob Watts. So don't go anywhere, because he's one of the best digital streams I've ever done. He is so knowledgeable. He takes your questions, highly intelligent. He gives you insight to the audio world like you will never believe. So come back. We'll see you guys here in a few minutes with Rob Watts. Peace.